What if your very first memory was of your own death? Not a dream, not a nightmare, a memory. Anaya was born in a village so quiet, you could hear the wind whisper prayers between the trees. High in the Himalayas, where clouds kissed the rooftops and time stood still. She had no birth record, no photographs from childhood, only a single, haunting memory. She was drowning, not in water, but in silence. Heavy, thick, endless. She could feel her lungs tighten, her vision blur, and her heartbeat fade, like drums muffled by earth. Then nothing, only darkness and cold. She was 4 years old when she first told her grandmother, "I remember dying." The old woman didn't flinch. She just stared, then whispered, "You shouldn't remember that." Anaya didn't know what she meant. Not yet. But from that moment on, mirrors began to lie. In the dusty glass of her bedroom, her reflection moved slower than she did. Sometimes, it didn't move at all. And once, just once, it smiled when she didn't. At night, her dreams weren't dreams. They were tunnels, narrow, deep, lit by oil lamps that flickered without flame. She walked barefoot over ashes, heard chanting from voices she didn't know but understood. One word repeated, again and again, rebirth. But Anaya wasn't born once. She was born again, and she was starting to remember what came before. Every morning, Anaya woke with the taste of ash in her mouth. Not dust, not dirt. Ash bitter and warm, like something had burned inside her. She tried brushing it away, drinking milk, rinsing her mouth with salt water, but it always came back. Her grandmother noticed. One evening, she sat beside Anaya and asked, "Did you go walking again in your dreams?" Anaya nodded. There was a river and smoke. A lot of smoke. Her grandmother looked away. Her hands trembled. Then she reached into her shawl and pulled out an old pouch. "Keep this under your pillow," she whispered. "It's for protection." Inside, it smelled of sandalwood and something older. Older than time. That night, Anaya dreamt again. But this time, the smoke had shape. And in the smoke were eyes. Not human, not animal. Eyes that remembered her, watched her, waited. She ran in the dream, down narrow paths of stone, under temples with broken bells, and the chanting returned louder this time. Voices rising, faster, like a ritual gone wrong. Rebirth, rebirth, rebirth. She woke with scratches on her arms, deep ones, fresh. Her window was still locked. She told her grandmother everything, and for the first time, the old woman looked afraid, truly afraid. "You weren't meant to wake up with those memories," she said. "The soul forgets for a reason." Then she said something Anaya would never forget. "The spirit that gave you life wants its place back." Anaya stopped sleeping. She was afraid. Afraid that if she closed her eyes, she wouldn't come back. The shadows in her room weren't just darkness anymore. They watched her. They moved when she didn't. And sometimes, they whispered. One morning, as the fog clung to the hills like a second skin, Anaya noticed something strange. A mark, just below her collarbone. Small, circular, red, like a burn but not recent. It pulsed, like it remembered pain. She ran to her grandmother. "It started," the old woman muttered. Then she opened a box, a wooden one, carved with symbols Anaya had never seen. Inside was an old, faded drawing. A woman kneeling before fire, the same mark on her chest, the same eyes, Anaya's eyes. "That was you?" the old woman said softly. "In another life, a priestess." Anaya's hands shook. What happened to her? Her grandmother stared out the window. She was betrayed, burned alive, in a ritual meant to bind her soul. That night, Anaya lit a candle. The flame flickered strangely blue, not orange. In its light, the walls began to breathe. Shadows danced. And in the mirror, the mark on her chest glowed faintly. Suddenly, a voice filled the room. "You were never supposed to return." She turned, but no one was there. Only the candle. But the flame was no longer a flame. It was an eye, open, watching, and it blinked. Anaya screamed, but no sound came out, just smoke. Anaya could no longer tell what was memory, what was dream, and what was real. The village felt different now, colder, like something ancient had awakened beneath the earth. She began hearing bells, faint, far away. Not the temple bells from the mountaintop. No, these came from below, from under her home. One evening, she followed the sound, barefoot, silent, into the cellar where spices hung and shadows lingered. But behind the stacked jars, there was a door she had never seen before. Old, iron, breathing cold. Her fingers moved on their own. She opened it. Behind the door was a tunnel carved from stone and older than the house itself. Oil lamps lit as she passed, one by one. The air thickened with dust and chanting. Not loud, whispered. And then, at the end of the tunnel, a temple, hidden, forgotten, but waiting. The walls were covered in carvings, not of gods, of her, a woman with eyes like hers, a flame between her hands, a mark on her chest. In the center of the room, a bowl sat on stone. It held ash, still warm, and beneath it, bones, small, human, arranged in the shape of a spiral. Then she heard it again, a voice behind her. You came back, but you were never meant to. She turned and saw herself, but older, eyes hollow, mark glowing like fire. Her reflection from the mirror, alive. Anaya stared at the woman, her own face, older, hollow, but alive and angry. You left me, the woman whispered. You let them burn me. Anaya shook her head. I don't remember. You do, the woman hissed. The chanting, the betrayal. You were the vessel. I was the flame. Suddenly, the walls began to melt not with heat, but with memory. The carvings came alive. She saw herself robed in crimson, surrounded by acolytes. Incense thick in the air, a dagger raised, a voice chanting her name, Anaya of the Flame. But it wasn't a name. It was a title. She was never just a girl. She had been a keeper of the soul gate, and the ritual wasn't meant to burn her. It was meant to bind her power forever. I didn't want it, Anaya whispered, tears burning down her face. I never asked to come back. But you did, the other her said, and now you must finish what began. Smoke rose around them. Symbols flared to life. Ash danced in the air like fireflies. And from the center of the spiral of bones, a flame burst forth silent, white hot. It did not burn. It remembered. Anaya stepped forward. Her mark pulsed. Her hands trembled, then steadied. If I am flame, she whispered, then I choose what to burn. She placed her hand in the fire. There was no pain, only truth. The other her began to fade. Her face softened. Her eyes closed. You're ready now, she said. End it, or begin it. The temple shook. From deep within, a heartbeat echoed. Old, terrible, awakening. Anaya turned toward the flame. Her reflection was gone. Only she remained. The temple was falling apart. Stone cracked. Flames licked the ceiling, but they did not consume, they revealed. The fire lit the final memory. Anaya knelt before the altar, centuries ago, her robes dark with blood, a child's cry echoing, and her own voice, calm and cruel. Sacrifice is the door. Rebirth is the price. She had not been the victim. She had been the high priestess. It was she who sealed the soul gate. She who condemned the other lives to flame. I bound myself, she whispered now. I split myself. To forget. The truth burned brighter than any fire. She was not haunted. She was haunting herself. And now, she was whole. The temple's heart opened. A spiral stairwell made of bone and light. At the bottom, a pool of silver. Still, infinite. A mirror of what she had become. She stepped in. No pain, no fear, only release. The flame within her flickered, then bloomed. A soft light, then brighter, then blinding. All around her, whispers turned to silence. The temple vanished. The village woke to stillness. No one remembered her name. Only the wind, carrying ashes through the trees. Some say a woman with golden eyes walks the mountains at dawn, silent, smiling, waiting for those who are ready to remember.